In the opening chapter of James Joyce's Ulysses, Stephen Dedalus declares, "History is a nightmare from which I am trying to awake." Over the next 24 hours, he has an ordinary day, nightmare-free. Taken with the portrait of the artist as a young man, aside from the occasional agonies of sexual guilt from his Catholic upbringing, Dedalus's life thus far has been nothing like a nightmare. Where then comes his view of history? As an aspiring member of the intelligentsia, it's a world view shaped by the writings of history, not personal experience. Suffering from what we would call main character syndrome, Ulysses is after all Leopold Bloom's story, not his. He is also ailing from another trendy idea, the availability bias. If the only information available to you was the 24-hour news cycle, you would think the world was on fire and you would be killed the moment you left your house. Of course, this is not reality. Most people live peaceful lives. The news is the news because it is rare. And before the advent of news media, the history textbook was the prime source of availability bias. History is a record of all the wars and conflicts of humankind. The peaceful day-to-day lives of most people are ignored because they are not newsworthy. Only 5% of the world's population died during the great wars of the last century. While this is a cold comfort to any poor soul caught between the twin Satans of Hitler and Stalin in Eastern Europe in the 1930s, we are far from the tipping point to say the experiment in human freedom is a failure. Were we to be honest, most of the ills we suffer in life are also self-inflicted. If free will is the justification for human evil, what justifies natural evil? If animals have no moral agency, why is their pain necessary? What is the purpose of defective genes in a blameless newborn? To the Hindu, genetic defects are karma for the sins of a previous life, and animals and insects house the souls of the unredeemed. Some proponents of the simulation theory believe we are the products of creatures created by a perfect God. This perfect God endowed these creatures with free will, and our universe is the imperfect result of this second creation. It is more likely that we exist in a system designed around trade-offs. To gain one thing, we must sacrifice another. Any dynamic system, economic, physical, or spiritual, will operate on the interactions of trade-offs. The automobile replaced the horse as our main source of transportation. While it made great distances more traversable and our streets less manured, it created a painful new way to die, the car crash. Our species can talk, but only at the risk of choking while eating. That water has the unique property of being lighter when frozen allowed life to originate, but also allowed for natural disasters such as floods and tsunamis. Earthquakes are the price we pay for plate tectonics, without which our planet would be as barren as Mars. And to those who see any pain as unnecessary, they want to take a lesson from King Midas and be careful what you wish for. Your infant child, who has no ability to feel pain, may chew off its own tongue just for fun. The Garden of Eden was a design based on trade-offs. It had an obvious trapdoor function, commonly referred to as the tree of knowledge. Once you ate its fruit, there was no going back, no way of unknowing. There was also a bug, or feature, in the form of a serpent, a strange voice in your ear and in your head tempting you to try something novel and dangerous. It was no earthly paradise unless you believed that ignorance is bliss, and that belief could only come post facto. It is a story of humanity's sundering from nature. God knew what Adam and Eve had done when they clothed themselves. They had tasted knowledge and became self-aware. They had become conscious. The trade-off for our consciousness is that we are no longer at one with nature, and we know that one day we will die. For the idealist, the notion of design by trade-offs is anathema. They believe one suffering creature is one suffering creature too many. But could they create a perfect universe from scratch and guarantee the creation of conscious living beings to marvel at this perfection? The only real perfection is the blank canvas or empty slate. Try as we might to create this perfect vacuum, we cannot. Any attempts in nature with abhorrence will quickly fill in the gaps. Nature will allow all sorts of grotesqueries, but it will not permit perfection.